If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, sir, Robert. We've been hanging out with the big homie DJ Gabe. If you came here for black metal, 1,000 apologies. Although Rivers of Nihil, or Nile, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, I thought that they were black metal.
I think they're black metal. Later, Sean.
He says, I linked a lyric video instead of the official video. People might complain that the last 30 seconds or so are missing. It's not integral to the song, but does add to it. So if you're willing to risk the official video with a band that is really unlikely to block or strike, let me know and I'll replace the lyric video link with the official. The video will be sufficient, though, for reaction.
Thank you for reading that to me just now.
I'm sorry,
Soraya.
this is just when I read it now.
Oh,
Second note. The first time I listened to this song, I knew I was going to request a reaction. The name of this song is called The Void from Which No Sound Escapes.
The void from which no sound escapes. Let's do it. It's playing piano. Oh, that's beautiful. Holy shit.
What was it saying? One more
I think
stop?
they're saying
Make it
one
stop?
more song or make it stop, which is very interesting. I think they're saying one more song, and he's like, stop! Why? Weren't you listening? That's brilliant. Wait, somebody died? What the fuck? Oh, R.I.P. The stream.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. Let me. I was like, oh, I
yeah.
thought somebody died. It was just a stream.
Stream suspended for policy violations.
This is not a band
Gabe
likely
said this isn't an
to
official.
copyright. Sit tight, folks. It's okay. We shall return. It's just funny to me. People are like, yo, don't worry. They're not going to do it.
Oh, boy.
It happens all the time, dear listener. It happens.
Babe, this...
This is what we go
Do
through.
we have two Ians in the village? Is this one the one that you guys talked a lot?
We do have two Ians. This is Ian Kirby.
Okay.
Guys, type 22 when you have returned.
You know,
I should have played the Beatles.
babe, the Jason Voorhees pajamas, are those the ones that we trim the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I'm never going to wear those again because what happened was we bought them and Vinny and I will both share the same pants because I like them to be big and comfortable.
Biggie!
Well, they were too long. And so Vinny was wearing them and I was like, let me trim those down for you because he was like, they were way too long. But I trimmed them after he'd been wearing them. So they had already like kind of stretched out from wearing.
Returned.
So
We're
now
back.
they get washed and dried and they're like high water and I do not like high water. I'd rather be tripping on pants than have high water. So you'll never see me in those pants again. Unless I buy another pair. I just go through and I feel for the softest ones and those ones I buy. Okay, we're back, you guys. Back to... Oh, what an unfortunate happening with such a great song. I don't like to be interrupted. You know, to have meaningless conversation about horror PJs.
Pajamas.
Instead of talking about this awesome song. This song was really, really good. It was beautiful. I really liked it. His voice, man, and he was able to go very high.
Well, that was the drummer, right?
I don't know.
The drummer, because the drummer is also a vocalist, and they just killed it, man.
And then what? That was the saxophone in there.
Oh,
It was
the sax at the end.
okay.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
I am very curious to know what you're gonna say the lyrics are about. You know, I kept getting little things out of it, but I'm not so sure that I'm correct. It was a relationshipy song.
What?
Yeah, I figured I was way off on that. Because I really didn't know what it was about the whole time. But then at the end when he was saying, I am what you fear, a whisper in the void with no escape, no escape. When the fire fades and the river's dry, when you speak my name like a weighted sigh, why don't you hear the whisper in the void that we made real today? I wasn't sure if it was like a relationship that was ending and like,
the bassist was doing the nice singing. Adam Biggs. Shout out to Adam Biggs.
yeah,
Holy shit, bro.
Yeah, I could have had more of that in there.
I mean, Adam Biggs, man.
So what did you think? What did you get from the song? What did you think it was about?
Holy shit, Rent on Broadway. That is a classic. Congrats to you, Michelle. Holy smokes.
Ooh,
One song, Glory. That's a depressing freaking...
expectations coming from loved ones and fans alike.
Yeah, I think that's why they were saying like one more song, and he's like, "Did you hear what I just said?"
Yeah. Oh,
You know?
wow.
But
Okay.
and we talked about this in the previous song, where a lot of these artists, like the really good ones, the legendary ones, it comes from pain. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'll never forget this. Like Jonathan, I think it was "Remember Who You Are" was the Korn record, and they worked with Ross Robinson again. And Ross had done the first two Korn records, which are legendary, especially in the Korn world. Like Korn fans, like the
Bullshit, Dwayne.
hardcore Korn kids.
Yep.
They'll tell you that the first two Korn records, man, there's nothing like it. And you know, it really, I mean, those two records changed the world. Honestly, I don't care what anybody says. Ross Robinson also did the first two Slipknot records, which in my mind, I'm not even a hardcore Slipknot fan, but in my mind, the first two Slipknot records are by far the best two
It's
Slipknot
one of those
records.
Iowa.
Yeah.
I think everybody agrees with you then.
Yeah. Well, Korn, Brian had left the band, whatever, and they worked with Ross again. But at the time, Jonathan's meds were like perfect.
Oh, yes.
But Ross is known for having doing all types of crazy shit, like that big, like what up, sis? I gotta work. Well, his the vocalist's grandmother had just died, and he was really close to her, or the drummer's grandmother had died, he was really close to her, something like that.
Okay.
And the guy was hitting the drums, and Ross was like, hit it harder, and then Ross goes, pretend it's your grandmother's last heartbeats. Or whatever, just like crazy shit like that. And the drummer was like, I don't know if that was right. He's like, we're never gonna work with that guy again. So anyway, Jonathan gets in the studio, and Ross tells him to get off of his meds.
Yeah, I remember you telling me this.
And obviously Jonathan was saying that his doctor was extremely pissed at him.
I'm sure. Especially if he was leveled out and then he goes to introduce more chaos.
And Jonathan, he listened to it. And he got off his meds. And, they did it old school Ross Robinson style, but...
Okay, I don't recommend getting off your meds at all. But I do totally see how somebody that's on meds would have a hard time accessing the chaos of their artistic side. If the meds are working really well.
That record, they don't do any songs from that record at all. And it's not because it's too painful or whatever. It's probably the bottom of everybody's list as far as favorite Korn records.
You're kidding me. So it didn't do well?
It didn't do well at all. And I remember I wasn't into metal.
Wow, I totally misremembered that. I thought for sure you said that it was one of the best records.
No.
It was oh no, they went through all that stress for nothing.
He went through all that suffering.
My gosh.
But I think that was God, though. That was God probably saving Jonathan's life.
Don't do this, yeah.
Because
go back on your meds.
if they would have had the success of the first two records off of his meds, we probably wouldn't have him here. So it was a cut of the law.
I think you're right.
In my opinion, it was the worst Korn record. I don't even think I listened to the entirety of that record. It was that bad. Brian wasn't there. David was on his way out. It was just a terrible record. Anyway, my point is, a lot of artists, it's their pain and suffering. And it's a very odd dichotomy to have people cheering and saying, give us more. For example, Korn wouldn't do Daddy for almost 15 years. They wouldn't do it live.
Wow.
Because it was just so painful.
Yeah.
So
I bet.
it is kind of a parasitic relationship that we as fans sometimes have with the band.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. And so there's...
Well, yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before, where there's bands that they start getting healthier with their music, and people are like, we just want the old stuff back.
Yeah.
They don't want to give them space to grow.
100%.
And I get it. You're into a certain type of music, and perhaps you haven't grown. So
correct.
You want your band to stay in the same place, to be there with you.
Well, it's weird because there's the situation that brought you to the band, or the life event that brought you to the band, where the band kind of gets you through that horrible life event. But then becomes this third thing that happens where there's a nostalgia connected to the band itself because they did that for you.
Yep.
And so then the band kind of, that feeling gets frozen. I'll never forget it. I had just come back from a party. I was in the hood. And this is when I was transitioning into a metalhead or whatever, or a Korn kid. I don't care what people say. Korn's not real metal. Okay, fine. I was transitioning into a Korn kid, and I was more and more outside of my friends. And I remember going to this party, and there was this girl, Katina. She had a very big bum, and blah blah blah, and whatever happened, whatever. But I remember being at that party and being like, "Yo, I do not belong here." And I had just bought the first Korn record. Just bought it. And I had it in my pocket. It was still wrapped up. I hadn't taken it out. And I just remember being on the train, being on the 4 train, and being so depressed. Yo, where do I fit in with these people? because I was still kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those were my people. Like, you know what I'm saying? But they weren't. And I was like losing. And I remember going home and it was dead at night. And I put the CD in there, man. And then. And I was like, oh, okay, this is that. And then, I was like, what? Holy shit. It was insane. But my point is, like, I remember that night so clear as day. So clear as day. I remember that night when I was up in the attic, because that was my room. And I played that song from start to finish.
The song or the album?
The entire album. You know, it's something I fucking like that. But it's the party with the funny money anyway. I was like, what the fuck did he just say? If I would have had a phone, I'd have been texting my brother, my best friend. I'd be like, yo, my nigga, you gotta hear this shit. This nigga just said, you something. I couldn't believe. I was like, and after that, like, I knew, like, okay, I'm not with those people anymore. And it wasn't like a fuck you. It wasn't like fuck you. It was just like, I'm over here. Like, this is what I'm about. This is the shit I believe in. This is my religion. I don't care. Like, this is what I'm about. And like that feeling, like to this moment, I feel it right now. It's like such a beautiful feeling. It's such a sweet, like divine feeling.
Wow.
But like to want Jonathan to be back there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
by the time I had heard it, he was on issues by the time I discovered Korn. You know what I'm saying? So to want the band to be back there is like a real selfish thing, but it's because there's this third thing that happens where there was the issue. I was an outsider, you know what I'm saying? And the band met me in that moment. But then there was that third thing, which was that moment when the band met me. And that's what people hold on to, but they don't realize that third feeling that third thing, whatever that thing is, you know, and we won't know what that is until we get to the other side. I don't believe, like, it costs that person so much pain to get there.
Yep, to get it for you. Yep.
And for you to want to relive that is you wanting to relive that third thing. But to them, it took them a lifetime of pain and suffering to produce that moment for you.
Yep.
And you're saying one more song, because when you're live, like, you really feel it. And he's like, no, don't you understand? Like, that's what I got from the back and forth. So
okay.
That's what I got. And look, he says, I tear out my being, I feed it to my children.
Yeah.
Because his kids are going to be able to cash in on his pain.
Wow.
So it's like, it's just a very insane, like, very insane. I remember
no escape, he said.
Yeah. And like, it's funny. Like, there's this, preacher that he's going viral, and he's talking about, like,
Adam.
He's talking about, like, yo, like, I'm done with this shit, because it happens a lot in churches. Like, I knew this guy, and like he told folk like a year ago, like, yo, I'm out, I can't do this anymore. And people were just like, he would describe it as like tearing pieces of his flesh and just eating off of him, and everybody was telling, and this dude's life was completely falling apart.
It's crazy, because when people are in those situations and they say, please give me time for me and my family, everybody thinks that they're the exception to that, and that they should be able to talk to the person even though they said, don't contact me, leave me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that every time I see one of these celebrities, when they go through something really traumatic and they're like, please leave time for me and our families, like, don't contact us. I'm like, yo, I wonder how many people are thinking they're the exception for that. Look, if you're the exception, they're going to reach out to you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But people don't care about that. And that's what it says. Like, what did you expect to be but a cynical man just like me, drifting in and out of life like curious moonlight? When the fires fade and the rivers dry, when you speak my name like a weighted sigh, why don't you hear the whisper in the void that we made real today? You're not hearing me!
Wow, that's great. Okay, so then the ending makes sense.
Yeah.
That ending. Well, I'm glad we played the official then, because I think that ending was super important.
That's why, like, when he said the final 30 seconds, I'm like, I am willing to risk the copyright. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to risk the copyright to hear, you know, something like that. Like, it intrigued me, and I thought it was just brilliant art. Marie said, that's so true. They think they are the exception to that one thing. Yeah. The emotional margin isn't available for anyone to be the exception. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like, they would tell you.
Yep.
But, like, it happens to a lot of kind of messianic figures. Like, where you have, like, musicians become, like, messianic figures.
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of like the gateway between you and God. Because a lot of what's happening with a lot of music, that people realize it or not, is that the person is praying for you. Like, they're saying your prayers, and it's going up into the ether. And a lot of times you're in your room alone. Well, who are you singing to? You see what I'm saying? Like, so the person is functioning as sort of a conduit between you and the divine to do something with your pain. And a lot of times people are like, oh, I feel better. It's like we're listening to yesterday with that guy. It's like, well, the angels are taking care of him. You see what I'm saying? Where the guy was saying, like, the chief prays and then the spirits guy.
Yeah,
like,
I love that part.
Like,
Yeah.
the angels, you know, so like the musician is functioning as this conduit between you and God, or you and the, whatever you want to fill in the blank, you and the other world, where you're able to ventilate your pain and find some kind of healing. That's how the musician is functioning. And that happens to a lot of...
Yeah, it's like you jump onto a path that's already blazed.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're kind of like, you're channeling something.
Yep.
Like, I don't care what you believe or say you don't believe, something is happening, especially when you go to a show.
Yep.
Why is this guy blowing into a saxophone? He's taking bits of iron and oxygen and whatever your lip is made of, which is mostly dirt and water. Why is the combination of all of that and the airflow going through those elements, if everything, it just... boom, it's going into the air, and everybody's feeling a species of the same thing, and something otherworldly is happening. Like, the guy is opening another dimension, and then you're in a crowd of people who are going into that same dimension. This is all, to do what you will with it. But something is happening when all of us get together.
It is. We all know it.
We all know it. Something, either scientifically, fourth, fifth dimension, or religiously, or supernatural, I don't give a fuck what you want to call it, something is happening.
Yep.
But there's always a cost to being that conduit to that other dimension. And and a lot of times people feel like they're being eaten alive. And that's one of the reasons why, like, I did not understand what Jesus meant when he says, you know, eat my flesh and drink my blood. If you don't have any life in you. This life is my flesh, which I shall give for the life of the world. Then I said, oh, because he's saying, eat me alive. I can take it. I can be that conduit where you're always going to me taking. I can take it. The rest of us cannot.
Oh, wow.
So that's what this guy's saying, is like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, and so he's stuck in this, because, like, he doesn't always, and it's funny, like, because I experience it too. Like, I love my guitar, but there are moments when I'm, like, working on something or recording and I'm trying to get it just right, where I fucking hate it. I can't stand it. And I'm so happy that I'm like, you know, fuck this shit, fuck this instrument, and if I didn't value it so much, I would slam it to the ground. Like, now I understand why these guitarists go at the end of a show. Like, some of it, it's adrenaline. Some of it, you end up really resenting the instrument because it's so demanding. And making the art is so demanding. But I'm so happy that anytime I want to stop, like, sometimes you'll see me, I'm like, Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, if you've been in a band or whatever, like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you're trying to, especially if you're trying to get it right and all the rest of it, and you have very limited talent, so the mistakes are legion. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I cannot imagine, well, I can imagine to a degree, like, having to get in front of people when you don't have anything in the tank. Like, your soul is empty, you don't have anything in the tank, you hate the instrument, you hate singing, you hate the crowd. But you know what? You have a schedule. You're on tour. That's it. You got to get up there.
That'd be awful.
And then people you're seeing thousands of people who are expecting this thing from you. And it's like, damn. So I completely understand what he's saying. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Well, that makes a whole lot more sense.
What'd you get the song?
Gosh, This one was very artistic. And when, like, some songs are just like, wow, that was really beautiful, like great lyrical, whatever style. This one, though, like I said, it just had a different level of sort of like an art that will go beyond like a certain time period. So this is a 9.8 for me.
That's a 10.5 for me. 10.5. Alan says the sax live was spiritual. This is a Rivers of Nile. Hear me. I know you don't want people to keep listening to your music, but bring us the old show.
Let us take a ticket. Stop, babe.
At minimum, unblock our videos so other people can rejoice in your suffering. Vin out.
Sorry out.
What did I give it?
You give it a 10.5. It's going up. It's going to an 11.
Vin out.
Sorry out.
Go.